go. I'm burning up, hot flashes got me sweating like a sauna. Body feeling different, hold creeping like a drama. Clock hits 3, wide awake insomnia.
Hello and welcome, my lovely listeners and viewers, to What the Pause. Today is our second Pause Talk segment, and I'm here interviewing Carly. Now, Carly is the head of concierge services of MyStoria, and we're going to turn it to her in a second. So I want to say thank you, Carly, for coming over to What the Pause.
Thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. So for my audience, we want to hear all about you. So let's start off with who you are, your age, your family, and I want to talk about your career background like we discussed before.
Okay. So as you know, my name is Carly. I'm 42, soon to be 43 this summer. So,
You're still young, trust me.
My heart's beating fast. I am a mother of one son. He's 10, he'll be 11 this summer. I'm married and I've spent my career as a nurse.
Excellent. And what kind of nursing were you doing back in the day?
I've done different types of nursing. So when I started my career, I spent 8 years in long-term care, and then I did a little bit of teaching, and then I worked in chronic pain, physical injuries, and sports medicine. And then I worked at another big clinic up north where I did a little bit of everything. So a little bit of family medicine, a little bit of same-day clinic, but then most of my time was spent working for a surgeon and doing endoscopy and recovery room with that as well. And then I transitioned in 2018 to fertility here in Waterloo, and I've been dedicated to fertility and reproductive health since that time, and then transitioned out of regular clinic nursing to MyStoria a couple of years ago.
That's amazing. Wow, what quite the career, and especially when you have that nursing background and you have a good bedside manner. As we know, we love our nurses. So of course, thank you so much for that and for indicating what you're doing now. So I want the audience to also know, right now, you're 42, turning 43. You're still young, but I am so happy to hear because I'll be 55 this year. And I didn't know about perimenopause when I was your age. And I knew what it was, but I didn't think I was going to be hitting it so early. So tell me about when did you start getting symptoms and what transpired you to say, oh, you know what, maybe this is perimenopause, I should check it out. Tell us your story about that.
Yeah, so I remember being at work when I got my first hot flash, and I feel like that was really around like 38, 39, somewhere in there. And I remember feeling like, whoo, it's hot in here. And I felt like I was like burning from the inside out.
Yes, yeah.
And then something clicked in me because I knew, and I was like, oh no. But they were very infrequent. Like they wouldn't come. There wasn't really a pattern to it. So I was like, okay, we'll monitor this and we'll see how it goes. And I really found in the past like 6 months to a year, it's been getting like progressively worse. I was like, okay, I can see that I have a multitude of symptoms. So I started tracking them and looking at them. And it got to the point where I was like, I can't take this anymore. I think I need to do something. And there's been like such a conversation about it. And really when the newer guidelines came out for care in Ontario, I was like, you know what? I need to take my own advice, do what I tell everybody else. It's time to advocate for myself and do something because I want to feel better. I shouldn't have to live like this. And I spent time doing things on my own to try and see, but I was like, no, I need a little something extra.
That's it. And you know, it's great that you noticed that the hot flash came on. And I know it's just like a lot of us out there can probably relate that it's the inferno, right? Yeah. And like you said, you don't know, they're unpredictable when they come, right? So, and it's great that you understood that. And then you got the treatment. Well, you advocated for yourself, which is, and with your nursing background, I'm sure you're like doing your research and making sure you're tracking your symptoms, which is really important to the ladies out there to track your symptoms, even in your late 30s. Okay. And we're going to get to that in a moment because had I known for myself that I was going through perimenopause at 44, 45, I would not have been given an antidepressant, you know? So, when you were advocating for yourself, did you find that you were wanting HRT or just wanting someone to listen to you in terms of that?
Oh, I knew I needed some hormones. Like I was like, I am going to push for this. But I think what it's important when you're saying about tracking the symptoms, you know, it's good to be prepared when you go into the office. You have such a short amount of time. So if you can understand how to communicate things, which I did, I knew my list of symptoms. I was tracking like the frequency, like how long they've been going on. So I wasn't like, oh, I just have hot flashes. It's no, I'm having multiple hot flashes every week. I'm usually having them at night, plus just regular night sweats on top of that every night. I am not sleeping well every night. You know, I was able to give details about each symptom and the collection of symptoms. And then when she was panned out and looked, she's like, yeah, okay, I totally see what you're saying. Where if I went in and was like, well, I'm having hot flashes here and there, like I don't really know how often, then it sounds a little wishy-washy. And sometimes you'll get the, well, let's keep an eye on it or let's wait. And I was like, I am not waiting. I know that I've been tracking this. And then I was able to say, I've been doing strength training for about a year now. You know, I go to bed the same time every night. I've changed my nutrition. So I'm taking these supplements. I was able to tell her everything I was doing lifestyle wise. So she knew I was pretty healthy and putting in the effort at home.
Yes.
So she agreed. And then it was go get a mammogram,
Yes.
which in Ontario, if you're 40, just go. You don't need the doctor to tell you. You can just book and go. So it was get a mammogram. Plus she ran a bunch of other blood work because it's good to look at, you know, like your lipid panel, your thyroid, you know, everything else that's going on. So she's like, let's make sure that there's like nothing layered or something health wise going on along with this. And then she gave me the referral because could she have prescribed me something? Probably.
Yes.
But she's like, this isn't my area of specialty. And she's like, what if you need testosterone? I don't really know. So what is the best for you? So she sent me to a certified menopause specialist and I only had to wait like 2.5 months. So it wasn't too bad.
Wow. Carly, you've mentioned some really great factors for the audience, because this is a problem with not only here in Ontario in terms of doctors, it is worldwide. And in Canada and here in Ontario, well, we don't discuss our premier, but there's lots of reasons why things are not going well in healthcare in Ontario or across Canada. But I digress. What Carly was saying here, you were talking about having your symptoms prepared, because I completely agree with you. When you walk into your doctor's office or even a lawyer's consultation, you want to be prepared, because you don't want, if you're in a lawyer's office, you want to be prepared so you're not spending that over an hour and then getting charged for, you know, the wishy-washiness. Think about that when you go into your doctor's office, right? As you mentioned, there is very limited time. I think we were like given 15 minutes for our GP. And in that time, you've got to just get right to the points and, you know, use your tracker. And Carly's going to talk about a tracker momentarily that she uses. But it's to be prepared. Be prepared for your doctor to may have given you some pushback. And for my audience, I'm really glad to hear that Carly's doctor admitted that it wasn't her area of expertise, and she was able to get someone in 2.5 months. In my position, I started at Perry, like real Perry, like all the stuff when COVID started. So I had to wait 2 years.
Oh my God.
And I was, so you're very lucky to get the help that you need. And I'm very proud of that, because that's something that a lot of 40-year-olds and late 30-year-olds should be going to do. And if you're wondering, why do you need to get a mammogram before HRT? Because we want to make sure that there is nothing at risk in terms of cysts or cancer or anything that they may find. They want to make sure, because you're going to be using that estrogen and progesterone combination, depending if you have a uterus or not. That way, they want to warn out that there's nothing going on before they put you on the estrogen. So people don't know this, right?
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah. And like, she was good too, because she did a whole assessment for like breast cancer, other cancers. So she did a whole questionnaire with me during that time as well. So really, when I got to the specialist, she had a lot of the information that she already needed. And I could tell that she took the time to review it. So she asked me a couple follow-up questions. So I didn't really actually have to go through everything all over again.
Amazing.
Which I actually appreciated. I
Yes.
was like, wow, like all the things I advocate for and I want, I'm like, it's happening. And my case was interesting because I couldn't track my cycles. With other women, they're tracking their cycles, but I have an IUD.
Okay. This is very interesting. So I'm sure lots of women there have IUDs. Yes.
Exactly. So it was really important for me to track those symptoms. And I was coming to the end of my IUD, and I feel like I was feeling the symptoms even stronger. And I was starting to feel like those cyclical hormone changes more intensely.
Sure.
So that was talking to my doctor and saying, okay, like, do I want to stay with an IUD? Do I want a different type of birth control? Do I want to come off everything and do progesterone? And I have terrible cycles, terrible periods. I was one of those teenagers that was thrown on birth control.
Oh,
Never
yes.
found a root cause. You know, knowing what I know now, I'm suspicious about certain
Sure,
things.
certainly.
But my IUD works really well for me. So I decided to get that changed. So that's something I did also before I was able to see the specialist, is I got my IUD changed. I got a new one. So she knew, so I didn't have to get progesterone. It's like, yes, I'm going to try this combination and see how it works for me. So even though the 2.5 months when I was waiting, I still, you know, had to make my appointment, go get my IUD changed. Like, I felt like I was still moving forward and doing things, which I think is important for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Like, we don't want to feel helpless, right? That's the thing. It's like, I know many of us, we've been to doctors, and the first thing they, like I said before, they just throw you on, you know, an antidepressant. Some doctors still do that today, you know, before going through the HRT route. So let's talk about symptom tracking and how MyStoria fits into this. So let's talk about the tracking and then MyStoria. All right.
Yeah. So I actually use MyStoria for the tracking, which is interesting. So MyStoria, we're getting ready to launch a new product, which I love. You know, it's a reproductive health platform. It's going to be an app on your phone, so you have it with you in your pocket all the time, but it's beyond the app because you have that human in the loop, which is my concierge team and myself. You know, I do a lot of the calls as well, and my team. But I've been testing it and using it, and because I'm not a person who likes to like manually track everything. Like, there's certain things where it's like, oh, you have your list and you're putting in all this tracking stuff, but what does that really mean, right? And I'm terrible for doing stuff like that. So I like this because it uses a combination of AI and human in the loop. A lot of it is done through chat. So I do my check-in and I'll do it at night, and I can just talk to it, and I'm just telling him like it's almost like journaling.
Wow.
You know?
Yes.
It's like, hey, today, you know, I didn't sleep well last night, which is, I often say this. I didn't sleep well last night. You know, I was tired when I woke up. Maybe I was low energy. Maybe I was irritable. Maybe I had a hot flash, night sweats, whatever I had. So I talk about however I'm feeling. I'm also dealing with like a little bit of like a knee issue. So I actually talked to it about that too, because, you know, sometimes with the healing and with joint and muscle issues, that's also an issue with perimenopause.
Yes, it is.
So I bring that stuff into it, you know, when I'm talking about like, I got a knee brace, which is helping. So I'm saying like all this stuff to it every day, and it's logging it for me. It'll ask me follow-up questions. And then I can say to it, hey, give me my list of symptoms from all my chats. How am I doing lately? And I have my follow-up appointment there because it's building your story as you go. So it makes this whole storyline for you of all these like key moments and events, every chat, every check-in, it's in there. So I could say, hey, search my chats, give me a list of my symptoms I need to prepare for my doctor's appointment. Is there anything I should ask or advocate for? And it'll tell me. And then, you know, I can go to my girl Jessie, who's on my concierge team, and I say, Jessie, you know, am I missing anything? Any cool tips for me? But I'm constantly doing this, and I can do it when I'm in the car. I'm not having to manually like
type it in.
Stuff.
Yes.
And then I'm really, really bad with dates. Like, I was already bad before the perimenopause, but the brain fog is real.
Brain fog is real. Yes.
When did that happen? Like, if you ask me right now, I know I just got that brace like less than a month ago, but I cannot tell you the day. But it's in there. So if I need that information, especially when I go to the doctor, when did this happen? When did that happen? I say, okay, I know what happened here because I can just pull it right up. And then I've been really testing it and like messing with it a lot. And I forget everything. So I like even took like a picture of like the business card for the brace guy. I took a picture of it and like attached it to that event. So I'm like, if I need to call the guy, I know it's there. I don't have to worry about it because I won't even remember his name to look it up in the phone. Okay. Like,
we've all been there. We've all
I'm
been
like a
there.
goldfish lately. So I really love it. And I can't imagine not having it right now. So I'm really excited to see when I go for my follow-up appointment because I'm really going to be able to pull forward all this information, just easy peasy in my pocket. And then I always have that extra support for the human and all that.
That's wonderful. And do you have to be a member of MyStoria, or can users go and download this, or they just visit your website?
You can visit the website right now. The new product is not quite ready yet. There'll be some big announcements
Excellent.
coming, but everyone will be able to try it out for free.
And the website, they can look at it right now. Your website, just for reference.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to sign up for now, it's a little bit different of a product, but you can always check out www.mystoria.com
Good.
and see what's coming. But yeah, when the new one drops, everyone will be able to try it for free.
Excellent. Now, talk to us about, and this is something that really has, we when we're in perimenopause or we hit a certain age, we tend to go into a point of reflection, right? Mm-hmm. And when I had my first child, I was 38, and I had my second at 40. So, I was the grandmother, trying to deliver, but I'm not a grandmother. But nonetheless, the geriatric pregnancy. I love that name, right?
Term. Yeah.
It's a beautiful term. They should really change that. But nonetheless, so, and I know that, wow, I was lucky to get pregnant at that time and just like you, I was a fitness instructor for 30 years. I ate clean, lifting, taking my supplements, taking my medications. Everything was great. Loved my pregnancy. As soon as number 2 came out, I personally believe once I finished breastfeeding, I went right into peri and didn't even know it. And my doctors were saying, "Oh, it's just postpartum depression." No, there are so many things. And the first for me, and maybe for you, for others, it was the fatigue. Yeah. It was debilitating, right? So I was fortunate to not have any kind of medical intervene when I was doing this. I delivered naturally and I conceived naturally. Now, these days, I'm finding that women in their 30s are having trouble, and and I love you to talk about how, why mystoria.com is really important is because of the fact that you're tracking these symptoms in the event you may have problems conceiving. But I'm going to have Carly, I want you to talk about, experiences or your friends or what we were talking about in terms of women in their 30s, maybe considering talking to their doctor or doing other things to save, or I don't want to say, retrieve your eggs or save your eggs or whatever the case may be, but to be prepared in case they run into this situation.
Yeah. Like it's biology. It's just a fact that as we age, our egg quality usually declines, and we know time is a factor. Your fertility and your reproductive health is just declining over the years. It's just part of the change. Our hormone profile shifts. And, with the change in society, it's like, we go to school longer, we educate ourselves, we're like, okay, I want to do my career. You want to have the stability and the funds to be able to say, you know what, when I have kids, like I have like my safety net, I have my nest egg, I can give them everything I want. Yes. But unfortunately with that just takes time, right? And time is always working against us. So I'm always an advocate for know your status so you know your options. You may be the person who has amazing egg quality. So you could have a lower ovarian reserve, which we don't know because you hadn't had testing. But I would assume at 40, your ovarian reserve was lower than it was when you were 25.
Absolutely.
Or 28.
Absolutely.
It just is, right?
Yes.
But you took such good care of yourself. You didn't have anything else going on, that you had that beautiful egg quality and you were able to achieve a pregnancy. And that's amazing. And that is the case for a lot of women. But statistically, that's on the lower end of the statistics when you're at 40.
Okay.
Your chances of conceiving are naturally way lower. And that's not something that's really told to us. And when you're looking on social media, you're seeing all the movie stars, everyone, right, having these babies, but you don't always hear the stories. Was it their egg? Was it a donor egg? At 50, unless they froze their eggs, it most likely is a donor egg.
Like, how does Janet Jackson have a kid at 50?
Exactly. And people don't always know. She scoured the world, the globe, for experts to help her. And people don't always know.
No, I did not know that.
All the little details of this stuff, right? So I think when you're in your 30s, if you're saying, okay, or even earlier, even in your 20s, you say, I know that I don't want to have kids till later, or you're, trying and you're closer to 35, know your status. Go get some testing done. Say, I want to know where I am at. And so you can make a decision. Now, if where you're at is everything is great, you have a normal reserve for your age. Yes. Well, even if you have a normal reserve for your age, okay, maybe that's worth a conversation to say, well, if I want to wait till I'm 40 to have kids, what would your recommendation be? Do you want to freeze eggs? Do you want to create embryos and freeze them? There's just different options, I think, that are worth consideration and a discussion. Or maybe you're like, no, I'm good. I'm happy where I am. I'm gonna see what happens. But if you wait till, you know, you're 38, 39, 40, and then you go in and you go for testing and you realize that your AMH is really low or even lower than expected for your age. I've seen women come in their early 30s and find that they were in, you know, premature ovarian failure. That is a thing, and people don't always.
I did not know that either.
Know it.
No.
And then it's like, it's a surprise and it's a shock, and it's so sad when that happens. I mean, but there's no preventative healthcare. So it's not like we're, you know, through our lives getting checked for this stuff.
Yes.
And sometimes it's being ignored, things like PCOS, you know, and all these things affect your overall health as well. So I think it's important that if, you know, you're in your 30s, just knowing kind of where you are. And then I think people experience a lot of symptoms that they don't realize are symptoms, you know, because, you know, my mom told me her period's really bad and her sister's period's really bad, and that's just how it is in our family. No, girl, you may have endometriosis and or adenomyosis, and that is an issue, and it affects your fertility. Or like, oh, well, all my family's periods were irregular. Yeah, it comes once a month, but you know, sometimes it's like 28 days, sometimes it's 35 days, sometimes it's 40, but it comes. It's like, no, that is an issue. So people are walking around with these symptoms and they don't realize that, no, that's a symptom that something else is going on. Your period is a vital sign.
There you go.
For your health.
Yes.
And you must track it, whether you're trying to get pregnant, not trying to get pregnant. It doesn't matter. You need to track it because your body is meant to work like clockwork. It should be predictable within a couple days. If it's not, then you need to dig deeper and you need to advocate for that healthcare, because as the future goes on, options become more limited. So knowledge is power for all of us.
Absolutely. And you brought up some really great points that I'm sure the audience will really resonate with, because we do have viewers who are in their 30s and they're kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'm not married. I don't have kids. You know, I really want them. So making that decision early, you know, where you are having your, hopefully a good fertile period of your life. You know, and sometimes I know I have friends now in their late 40s who thought, oh, I could just have a kid whenever I want, right? Because I take care of myself and this and that, but they don't know the underlying issues that you just described, right? And PCOS is a huge one for a couple of mine. So yeah. So this is great advice. And this is news that I've never heard of either. And I didn't know about the Janet Jackson story. I'm a huge pop culture person. So I'm like, wow, that's fantastic. So I really love the fact that I have you here, Carly, because a lot of people, like you said, they look online for resources, you know, and not some of these resources may not be credible. So it's really in social media. Yes, we are educated, we are licensed, and we can do this. There's many people online who are not. So it's really up to you guys, the users, the viewers, to really, and listeners, I have to remember my podcast folks, that, you know, when it comes to your fertility, and if you are in your 30s, you know, really have a chat with your doctor, track those symptoms, the periods, because I know, and another success story for me is because I had regular periods all my life. So that was very important. So I didn't really get irregular periods till 50. So it was, yes. And another myth that Carly brought up is, you know, your mother's pattern is not necessarily going to be your story either. Okay. My mother had, she went through menopause only for 2 years, like Perry for 2 years. That's it. And I helped her with that. But she was 50, finished at 52. Oh, wow. I still have cycles at 54. So, but I'm also on HRT as well. Yeah. So, which helped me. And now it's helping me along way more than ever. You'll have to pry my HRT out of my dead cold hands, I'm sure. Yeah, you know, for you too.
Fight to the death for it.
Exactly. Don't you dare think you're going to take that HRT away. All right, Carly, this has been an excellent subject. I'm so happy that we have somebody here that can speak to that. And I hope that a lot of this resonated with you and you can take some action steps as well. What I'm also going to be doing is I'm going to have Carly's information up for you as well at the end of this. But we're going to now go into our rapid fire questions, because you know what? Life is too short to be serious all the time, guys. So we're going to get Carly and we're going to get to know her Exactly. And just to get to know, just for you guys to know, is that Carly and I just met a few weeks ago online. So I'm really happy that and she's not too far. Well, a drive from me, but excellent. So let's get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So rapid fire questions. You cannot think. First thing that comes out of your head. Okay. All right. It's this or that, basically.
Okay.
Okay. And you can take a look at our audience, or you can just think. I know people are going to think. Ready?
Yep.
Excellent. Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Yes. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl. I'm like more of a mid-afternoon girl now. Like lately.
I like those naps myself. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Mm-hmm. Oh, bad breath or body odor?
Bad breath.
Yeah, we can always give them a mint or a gum, right?
Yeah.
Body odor. You don't have antiperspirant with us all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I love this one because it's very gender based. But passenger or driver?
Passenger.
Yeah, I like to drive. I'm always the driver. So yes. Texting or talking?
Talking.
Yes. It's so old school, but now people are like, I'm not picking up a phone. My Gen Zs, my daughters will not pick up a phone.
Too lazy to type with my fat thumbs.
Shopping or online or in store?
Shopping online.
Yes. Yeah. I think our tolerance level for going into a store, no.
Yeah. And I'm really, I like stores to be, if they're too busy, I get annoyed. I like to take my time. I don't like to feel rushed. And I like everything to be organized. So there's some stores that like mix everything up and people will sit for like an hour and sort through every individual item. I can't be bothered. I can't do it.
No, my time is better used doing something else, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's continue. Just two more. Phone in the bathroom or no phone in the bathroom?
I think you can bring your phone in the bathroom as long as you clean it and disinfect it.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my kids, don't do that. But if you're going to do that, then here's the Lysol wipes. Make your family proud or make yourself proud?
Make yourself proud, because if you do that, then you should make your family proud.
Bingo. Exactly. Carly, this was great. Thank you so much for your time and for educating us all about your journey, MyStoria, and how it's really important for ladies in even your 20s and 30s to start getting checked out and to get that process going if you're considering having children. So I hope this was very informative and resonated with you, Carly. I want to say thank you again for coming. I'm going to give you a hug because I always give my guests hugs. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So in that note, guys, I want to thank you all for coming and watching us. Please share this video if you can, or audio podcast if you're listening to it. Really, really important stuff. Everything that Carly has said is based on her experience, and she's the head of concierge services at mystoria.com. You can also take a look at my website at whatthepause.co. And if you'd like to be a podcast guest on my Pause Talk segment, please fill out the form that you will see momentarily on my new website, branding, that's going to be launched. All right, guys. So I'm going to leave you with my mantra. Be well, be safe, and embrace the pause.
Yo, I'm burning up, hot flashes got me sweating like a sauna, body feeling different, hold her creeping like a drama, clock hits 3, wide awake insomnia, got me stressed, mirror shows dry skin, used to glow, now it's a mess, achy joints, back stiff, tailbone hurts too, trying to stay fly, but the scooper making moves, 1 minute I'm chill, next I'm seeing red, these mood swings got me tripping, messing with my head, I go through all these symptoms, do you go through it too? Is it just me, or you riding this wave too? We gaining that weight,